What is up, TFA fam? It is the first edition of TFA Prop Talk. Tom has been putting out, if you've been following him on Twitter, @DynastyInfidel, he's been putting out over the past 2 weeks his couple of his favorite props. They've been doing fairly well. Not to brag, but they've been doing fairly well. It's something I've enjoyed, and me and Tom always talk about props, and we were like, what we should do? We should probably just do a show, right? So this is what it's going to be. So we're just going to talk about our favorite props on FanDuel and the DraftKings sportsbooks. Just give you our top 3 for the week of what we have available to us whenever we record on Saturday night. And let's just jump right into it. I'm going to give you the floor first. Hit us with your first prop that you were looking at for week 3.
All right, my first prop is Terry McLaurin over 62.5 yards. It's at minus 124 right now and moved up from minus 112. So over at DraftKings, you can get a 20% boost for one bet per game, I believe it is. So make sure you opt into that because your minus 112 bumps up to plus 108. So that's something you want to look out for. But again, 62.5, I think is a really I think it's low. The Browns have given up 65 or more to 2 wide receivers through 2 games. So it's, not horrible, not fantastic. Andrews has also been over 65. But tomorrow there's not going to be any Greedy Williams. Denzel Ward injured his groin at practice this week, and he's questionable, so he might not even play. If he does play, we know how groin injuries are, so a tweak could put him out, or he could just not be playing up to snuff. Exactly 50% of McLaurin's game he's played in his career, he's gone over 62 yards. And one of those games he had 62 yards. One of the games he didn't make it was 62 yards on the button. So I expect him to surpass that. And Washington's 7.5-point dogs. So they're going to have to throw to stay in the game. What do you think, Code? You like it?
Yeah, man, I like that. Obviously, the Browns are ravaged by injuries, and I like it so much. I'm actually going to stay at this game, and I'm going with Logan Thomas over 37.5 receiving yards. And it's for basically everything you just said about the cornerbacks can be transferred over to the linebackers. They obviously lost Christian Kirk and Joe Schobert over the offseason. Both of them are gone and out of Cleveland. With Mac Wilson, they were betting on him. He had that hyperextended knee. He's still not in. And so their linebacker core is just completely ravaged. We saw the Browns give up 58-2 to Mark Andrews week 1. Last week, CJ Uzomah and Drew Sample combined for almost 90 yards and a touchdown. Logan Thomas is 9th in the NFL amongst tight ends and routes run, and he is tied with your boy McLaurin in targets on that team with 17. So he has actually not hit this number just yet. He fell just 0.5 short week 1 against your Philadelphia Eagles when he went for 37. Last week he only had 26 yards, but he's been targeted 8 and 9 times through the first 2 weeks. And again, I think the matchup just sets up really well for Logan Thomas this week. What is your second prop that you want to bring to the TFA Prop Talk?
All right, second prop is going to be Allen Robinson, and there are actually 3 props for Allen Robinson that I like because he's going to blow the hell up tomorrow. He's at 65.5 and minus 124. Again, he moved from minus 112 as well, so the money's coming in on McLaurin and A-Rob. Atlanta has given up 88 yards or more to 5 wide receivers through 2 games. That's insane. Dallas had 3, and then Seattle had DK and Lockett. I believe they were both in the 90s. So this is the game A-Rob actually breaks out. And if you're a fantasy owner, you've been waiting for A-Rob to actually go ahead and have a monster game, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be the one. I also like him to hit over 15.5 fantasy points. That's at minus 112. He's also got 5.5 receptions, but that's at plus 108. So I really like that value there because I'm pretty sure they're going to feed Allen Robinson tomorrow. I am all in on him against Atlanta, who is just putrid against the pass.
Yeah, I like that call as well. Obviously, Penn State, A-Rob. You're never going to hear me disagree with anything positive when it comes to A-Rob. Another one I like that I almost talked about, but we realized that we were doubling up on a lot of the same games. Over on FanDuel, Anthony Miller's over-under on his receiving yards is 39.5, and his receptions are also at plus 108 at 3.5. So I like that game as well. AJ Terrell, their first-round pick, just hit the COVID list. So that's going to be something super interesting to watch to see how that all plays out with what happens to other teammates and, everything else. So, because he's going to be the first one that we see that's positive during the season, and Ricardo Allen is going to be out, one of their safeties. So they're like, that was already a bad secondary, and they just lost two of their starters for this week. So another wide receiver one that I like on a different team that I also believe is going to blow up this week is T.Y. Hilton for the Colts. His over-under is at 58.5 reception yards. I like the over there. There's no Paris Campbell. Oddly enough, the Jets were ranked third in rush DVOA, even though they just gave up, 77 yards on 3 carries to Jerick McKinnon last week. Obviously, Raheem Mostert blew up. But either way, the Jets are basically running out let's call it a high school, a JV defensive unit, and their offense isn't faring much better. So T.Y. Hilton with no Paris Campbell. Michael Pittman's kind of been up and down. Jack Doyle was practicing again. I'm not entirely sure of what his status is for this week. So I think T.Y. Hilton just going to ball out. Like I said, Jets are 22nd in pass DVOA, according to Football Outsiders. They have the 4th worst PFF coverage grade. So I think this just sets up to be a classic T.Y. Hilton smash game. So that is my number 2.
Yeah, I like that. I'm actually sticking with the same game there, and to go over with PFF stats, they are 29th in tackling. The Jets are, so that may cause.
I don't think that's good.
No, I don't think that's good at all. So that might cause a problem when they're trying to tackle Jonathan Taylor, who is his over under 77.5 rushing yards, and that's at minus 112. So it's also pretty telling that his attempts is at 23.5 over there. So GameScript says he's going to get the volume just because they should be ahead. I think this is finally the game where Jonathan Taylor breaks off a long run. We saw it at Wisconsin a ton. With this Jets defense, we saw Mostert do it. McKinnon, did it last week too. I think this is right for Jonathan Taylor just to blow up this week. So, I mean, that line is fantastic. I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. I'm all in on Jonathan Taylor too.
If you're in a state that you can play both FanDuel and DraftKings, definitely go hit that DraftKings line, because over on FanDuel it is at 83.5 for his over/under on the rushing yards. My third one that I'm going to throw out here, Cooper Kupp over 4.5 receptions going up against the Bills. He has hit 5 or more catches in 58.5% of his games. I'm expecting Bobby Woods to see a lot of Tre'Davious White. We know Jared Goff is a need to see it kind of passer. So I think Kupp is going to have a much easier time getting open versus Bobby Woods. Now, obviously with Woods, they move these guys around enough that I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. But I think this sets up to be more of a Kupp game than it does a Woods game. And obviously with what they have going on at the running back position, our guy Cam Akers is out this game with a rib injury. Malcolm Brown has a broken finger, so if he plays, I think he's going to play with a splint. That doesn't seem to go too well for somebody that's going to need to hold on to the ball. So I can't imagine they're just going to lean on Henderson and give him the rock 15 plus times a game. So I think this is oddly going to be a shootout, more of an open game than what I would have thought going into this year with the way that the Bills have been playing, and Josh Allen just out here absolutely just lighting it up. Now, granted, they have not played the greatest competition, but they have been passing the ball a hell of a lot more than I thought they were going to go into this year. And even when they're up, I mean, they were up in that game against the Jets. They kept throwing the ball. Obviously, the game with Miami last week, it was a little bit closer, but obviously he kept throwing the ball around too. So I think we're going to see a lot of passing volume in this game, and Cooper Kupp over 4.5 receptions is another one that I like. So
No, I actually really like that. I was looking at that as well. I actually like Cooper Kupp to finally get in the end zone this game as well. So if you want to put some money on Cooper Kupp to get in the end zone, I think that's a fine bet based on the fact that he hasn't scored yet, and we know that Cooper Kupp has a nose for the end zone.
all right, guys, we appreciate you checking into the first edition of TFA Prop Talk. If you're not yet subscribed on YouTube, please do so. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know any additions or improvements we can make, because, you know, as much as we like talking to each other, we want to help you guys out too. We want to build up that bankroll for you guys, so we appreciate you following along. In the morning, there's going to be more lines coming out. We talked about the Atlanta game to begin with, especially on the FanDuel side. Russell Gage is still not on the DraftKings side either. So we'll be tweeting out more of these lines and props and things we're going to be looking for. So make sure you're following Tom on Twitter at Dynasty Infidel. You can find me on Twitter at CKutzerFF. And obviously the Fantasy Authority, you can find them at FF_Authority. So until next time, later.